Okay, number 45, let's get that secant theta by itself. We're going to have -4 equals 2 secant theta. So -2 is equal to secant theta. Secant is the reciprocal of cosine. So if I take the reciprocals of each of these, cosine theta is equal to -1/2. If I take a look at my cosine graph, from 0 to 2 pi, cosine is equal to -1/2 here and here. So between pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2. Then I need to know my cosine values. So cosine of pi over 4 is equal to 1 over square root of 2, or root 2 over 2. Cosine of pi over 3 is equal to 1/2. Cosine of pi over 6 is equal to square root of 3 over 2. So cosine of a 30-degree angle is root 3 over 2. Cosine of a 60-degree angle, pi over 3, is 1/2. Cosine of a 45-degree angle is 1 over root 2. So I'm looking at the pi over 3 increments. So this one, first dot, is going to be at 2 pi over 3. Okay, it's like pi over 3, 2 pi over 3, pi is 3 pi over 3. The next blue dot is 4 pi over 3. Then you'd have a 5 pi over 3. And then 2 pi would be your 6 pi over 3. So my two answers are 2 pi over 3 and 4 pi over 3. That's where cosine is equal to -1/2. I can also look at this from the perspective of the unit circle. Okay, I still have to know my exact values, so know that I'm talking about cosine pi over 3 is equal to 1/2. So pi over 3. I also have to know that cosine theta is equal to x over r, which means that cosine is negative in quadrants 2 and 3. So the red line split my graph into pi over 3 chunks. So I'm looking at 2 pi over 3 in quadrant 2. Pi is equal to 3 pi over 3. And then quadrant 3 is 4 pi over 3. So 4 pi over 3 and 2 pi over 3 are the two values where cosine theta is equal to a -1/2. It's the left side of the graph from this perspective. So the left side of the y-axis, the cosine values are negative because cosine is equal to x over r as a definition, and the x values are negative to the left of the y-axis.